Today I'm beginning chapter 14. I'm going to cover the introduction, which is just one paragraph, and then cover the first section. The title of chapter 14 is Teaching for Truth. Yes, you are blessed indeed, yet in this world you do not know it. But you have the means for learning it and seeing it quite clearly. The Holy Spirit uses logic as easily and as well as does the ego, except that his conclusions are not insane. They take a direction exactly opposite, pointing as clearly to heaven as the ego points to darkness and death. So he's making it very clear there that when we follow the guidance of Holy Spirit, this leads us to heaven, which is a state of bliss, a state of oneness where we extend love eternally with God and one another. And if we follow ego as our guide, ego points us towards darkness and death. It's that clear. It's an either-or situation. We have followed much of the ego's logic and have seen its logical conclusions. And having seen them, we have realized that they cannot be seen except in illusions. For there alone, their seeming clearness seems to be clearly seen. That sentence was a tongue twister. Let us now turn away from them and follow the simple logic by which the Holy Spirit teaches the simple conclusions that speak for truth and only truth. So this introductory paragraph is reminding us that the ego is insane, it only leads us to darkness and death, and it is a liar. Holy Spirit speaks truth and only truth, and it leads us to wholeness, to oneness, to peace, to love. All right, the first section of chapter 14 is called The Conditions of Learning. If you are blessed and do not know it, you need to learn it must be so. The knowledge is not taught, but conditions must be acquired, for it is they that have been thrown away. You can learn to bless, and you cannot give what you have not. If then you offer blessing, it must have come first to yourself. And you must also have accepted it as yours, for how could you give it away? So that's all a fancy way of saying that whatever you believe you are, you're going to believe that others are. You cannot reinforce to others that they are spirit unless you are believing that you are spirit. That is why miracles offer you the testimony that you are blessed. If what you offer is complete forgiveness, you must have let guilt go. Accepting the atonement for yourself and learning that you are guiltless. How could you learn what has been done for you, unknown to you, unless you do what you have to do if it had been done for you? Not only are those tongue twisters, but they are brain twisters. But all of these twisty-turny words just mean that we cannot see others as guiltless unless we perceive that we are guiltless. We cannot learn what is unknown to us, and we cannot teach what is unknown to us. And what has been unknown to us is our innocence, is who we really truly are, because we have been believing the ego's perception. Indirect proof of truth is needed in a world made of denial and without direction. That's this world. This entire world was made of denial, and it has no direction. It just goes in circles to reinforce the ego's nonsense. You will perceive the need for this if you realize that to deny is the decision to not know. That's what the ego does. It denies our truth. It denies the oneness. It denies God's love. And when we are denying all of that, we are choosing to not know our truth. It is a decision. We do have a choice. The logic of the world must therefore lead to nothing, for its goal is nothing, right? That's the world, going in circles, leading us nowhere, having no goal except to keep us trapped, going in circles. If you decide to have and give and be nothing except a dream, you must direct your thoughts unto oblivion. And that's what we're doing when we're identifying with ego. We are deciding to have and give nothing but a dream. And if you have and give and are everything, and all this has been denied, your thought system is closed off and wholly separated from the truth. This is an insane world, and do not underestimate the extent of its insanity. Okay, he's always talking about this to us. He's always telling us how insane the ego is and how insane this world is and how insane we are when we are believing that it's true. If we cannot accept that insanity, we're going to continue to deny God's love. We're going to continue to block it out. We're going to continue to believe lies and be led to nothing but darkness and death. There is no area of your perception that it has not touched. And your dream is sacred to you, right? We think this world is so special. And all of our separate bodies and personalities and individuality and uniqueness is so special. We've made it all very sacred to us. But that's the ego's game. Make it important. But it's all a lie. And he's telling us that's why God placed Holy Spirit in our dream, so that we can awaken. We can stop thinking it's so sacred and special and wonderful and amazing and that we're getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere. The only way we can actually get somewhere is by awakening our mind, awakening from the dream, escaping ego's prison. Seeing is always outward. Were your thoughts wholly of you, the thought system you made would be forever dark. The thoughts the mind of God's Son projects or extends have all the power that he gives to them. Okay, so it's all about who are we believing? Who are we wholly believing and accepting as our guide, ego or spirit? And whoever we choose, that is the reality that we will experience. The thoughts he shares with God are beyond his belief, but those he made are his beliefs. So the thoughts we share with God, they're beyond our belief because that's our truth and we haven't been believing it. We've been believing the ego. But those he made are his beliefs. We made the ego and we have been believing it. And it is these and not the truth that he has chosen to defend and love. Right? We've chosen to defend and love the ego and this world. They will not be taken from him, but they can be given up by him. Right? Holy Spirit's not going to do it for us. We have to choose. We have to release the ego. For the source of their undoing is in him. Yeah, we have all the power. We get to choose. There is nothing in the world to teach him that the logic of the world is totally insane and leads to nothing. Right? The world's not going to tell us that. The ego's not going to tell us that. They're not going to let us in on the secret that it is nothing and going nowhere. Yet in him who made this insane logic, there is one who knows it leads to nothing, for he knows everything. That's Holy Spirit. That's the higher aspect of our mind, who knows that this world and the ego's belief system leads to nothing, and knows our truth and is here to awaken us. Any direction that would lead you where the Holy Spirit leads you not goes nowhere. Another twisty turny way of saying ego leads to nothing and spirit leads to everything. Anything you deny that he knows to be true, you have denied yourself. And he must therefore teach you not to deny it. Right? Holy Spirit needs to teach us not to deny our truth. Undoing is indirect, as doing is. You were created only to create, neither to see nor do. Right? Because the ego is all about doing, keeping busy. Oh, I got to keep doing stuff. I've got to keep earning things. And we think that seeing is done with our eyes and that we're looking out into a world that's real. But our true self is not meant to see or do anything. Our true self is meant to create. And what he means by that is extending love eternally in heaven with God, which is the state of oneness. That is what we were created to do, to create just like God, extending love. These are but indirect expressions of the will to live, which has been blocked by the capricious and unholy whim of death and murder that your Father does not share with you. Where's all this death and murder coming from? The ego, the ego's perception. But God, who created us, does not share that belief, does not share that goal, does not share that reality. It's not our true reality. You have set yourself the task of sharing what cannot be shared. That's believing in this world. That's trying to give to others or help others within the world from an ego point of view. Believing that their problems are real, believing that they are really separate bodies who are suffering. We don't help anyone that way. Now, we might be guided within our dream by Holy Spirit to appear to help others, body to body within the dream, but only if we are guided, only if that's what we are inspired to do, because it's just a dream, it's just a classroom. Really, how we help others is this sharing and creation he's talking about, seeing them as spirit, remembering that we are all the innocent child of God, forgiving the world for what has never really occurred. That is how we help ourselves and everyone else. That's true sharing. And while you think it possible to learn to do this, you will not believe all that is possible to learn to do. Right? We keep not believing Holy Spirit and who we really are and how we can truly help others to awaken. We keep not believing that. And instead, we keep believing the ego's perception. The Holy Spirit, therefore, must begin his teaching by showing you what you can never learn. By showing us that the world doesn't work, that the ego doesn't work. His message is not indirect, but he must introduce the simple truth into a thought system which has become so twisted and so complex, you cannot see that it means nothing. Right? That's what the ego does. It makes the world so complex, so detail-oriented, so specific that we just get lost in it, thinking there's something real there. But he's telling us, no, nothing's there. That's why we have such trouble seeing through the lies. It deceives you because you chose to deceive yourself, right? Anytime we're choosing to listen to the ego, we are choosing to deceive ourselves. Those who choose to be deceived will merely attack direct approaches because they seem to encroach upon deception and strike at it. So that's describing the viciousness of the ego and how it will viciously defend its perception, its lies, its false world. So anytime we are choosing to identify with our truth, whether we're seeing it within ourselves or anyone else that appears to be out in the world, the ego will strike back. And it's our job not to take it seriously, to remember to laugh at the ego, to laugh at the silliness, to laugh at the insanity. Just like when you have a dream at night that you're taking really seriously, and then you wake up and you go, oh, phew, it was just a dream. That's how we are being encouraged to look at our life. It's just a dream. Don't take it so seriously. It's just a classroom to wake up, to remember who you really are. You are the innocent child